This evening we will solve all your problems with one strike. Really going to the root. It would be a hopeless project to try to solve all your problems one by one. But since there's a root cause for all problems, one can solve all problems to a very simple insight. One insight. That's what the Buddha discovered, not only the Buddha. The root of all problems is the identification with the narrative self, the identification with the illusionary self. So I title the talk tonight, No Self, No Problem. Which is actually the title of two books. And one is written by a Tibetan teacher, Anand Thupten, I think is his name. And the other one is just recently published by a neuropsychologist. No Self, No Problem. So tonight I'm not going into the neuropsychology of explaining that with the brain and so on. And what we are looking at the illusionary self or the narrative self, I think it's better to think about it as a process rather than a thing. So that's why I'm not going to use the word ego or self, but I will use a word, and that word is selfing. Selfing. So that is that process of identification with the narrative self, which needs constant maintenance. That's how it lives. There's no substance to it. It's like a dream. It appears, but it does not exist. And one of the main ways, so it's located in the now I go into that book, but it's located in the right brain. You can actually detect it. And that identification with that process means maintenance, because it has no substance, and the main ways it does this process keeps itself running is to make up problems in the past and to make up problems in the future. And it's constantly, there's a constant dialogue of meaning making and self-referential. So like that process is labeling all experience, and then also that what you call a problem, mine. The other way this process of selfing keeps running is through seeking. So problems in the past. I think we all we all agree that the past does not exist, right? Problems in the future. I think we kind of agree that the future does not exist. Or if you would say, yeah, but my past exists, then I could ask what status has that kind of existence. And then you would admit it's a story. It's not real. Future, it's a story, it's not real. It's not here. So this constant blah, 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 giving meaning and seeking. And this contraction, this identification with the central position, it's a horrible place. And then the seeking. This is not it. This is not it. So the seeking, combined with problems from the past, problems from the future, covers up the mystery of this moment, the spacious aliveness of this moment, the unconditional love of this moment. And the strike is very simple because there's nothing there. It's not that you need to get rid of something or overcome something because it's not there. It does not exist as something having substance, as something real. The problem is that we try to make this strike in this selfing with it. So we are looking for a liberation where we can bring us into. We are looking for a liberation for that. While, in the meantime, we are not in a prison. The prison is made up, is imagined. We cover up the completion of this moment, the perfection of this moment, with a story of imperfection, which makes us seek a peace which we can't attain with the process of selfing. So we always feel incomplete. And this goes on forever. Nothing which this process of selfing understands or gets will bring you home. It actually does not want to go home because that is its end. It pretends to want to go home. Meditation, spiritual practice, having a guru, doing this, having spiritual experiences, and it's all blah, 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 blah. It's all just keeping, it's part of the maintenance of that illusion. best strike is to see what you are not. And pause. Of course, then that says, yeah, but who am I then? And then some spiritual tradition would say, yeah, you are awareness. Wow, that's wonderful. That's great. I'm awareness. I'm God. That's fantastic. Before I thought I was a miserable I, but no, I'm awareness. It's quite difficult to move this territory of spiritual practices, of the different maps in the different traditions, in a liberating way. It's inbuilt, at least in the Buddhist tradition. It deconstructs itself. It's a kind of trick to talk to the selfing process and saying, hey, here's a spiritual practice. This is the solution. So you start to practice. So you come here. You come here to get something. And you will be so disappointed. Maybe not tonight, yeah, but in general. Buddhism will completely disappoint you. At least the part where the Buddha says what he really means. And that's a very small part. The rest is just marketing. Trying to make the selfing process interested into this project. Talking to that selfing process which is seeking. So my intention tonight is to kind of calm that down a bit, like, by saying or by pretending that there is something to understand or something to get or something you could do. So then that selfing process kind of stays here. Or you come back. But my intention is actually to talk to that in you which is already free. And that which is already free can't understand. Can't understand in the way we usually define understanding. It has no words, it has no concepts. Resistance is to be expected. So the rational zone, the process of selfing, will constantly try to understand what is being said. And will constantly argue with what is being said. But you are not that. You are not this fucking disturbing voice in your head. And you're also not these fucking stupid memories. And you're also not these fucking stupid worries about the future. You are not that. I mean, you are not a name, rules, memories. So tonight, also in the meditation, when that rational zone responds to what I say, just be aware. The buts. Yeah, but I was really hurt in the past. Really, really. And I will really, really have this problem of finding a job next week. Really. And this exists. And then you can look at that. Okay. What's the status of that? It's a thought. The memory of being hurt in the past is a thought. It's made up. Does not exist. Yeah, but it does exist. Yeah, but how? No, you have a mental image of you 5 years ago. That's how it exists. And it's amazing to acknowledge that we can destroy a moment in the summer house, by the sea, trees, coffee, food, red wine. And then this stupid thought about something which seemed to have happened or which might happen in the future can destroy your whole day. One thought can destroy the whole day in the summer house, by the sea, with tree around. This is the process of selfing. And you miss the day. It could happen that you miss your life completely. Because you're not here. Never. Almost never. This is what you are not. If you see that, if you look through that, then you realize I'm not in a prison. There's no prisoner. There's spacious aliveness, which is in the nature of love, and which is enough to live for. Which is peace, contentment. Contentment with this. And this is all you have. This is all what exists. When that is seen, it's not even arriving because you realize you have never left. It's very quiet. It's not like boom and then it's seeing that you have never left. It was always like this. You were always here. You have just not seen it. So maybe you also, when we sit quietly, there might be thoughts like, yeah, but I'm not complete. I have problems. That is a thought. If you want to have a problem now, you need to think about it. You need to build it up. It actually takes concentration. In this process of selfing, that leads to self-importance. It leads to the daily mantra of, what about me? What about me? What does this situation, this relationship, this job, this education, what about me? What do I get out of this for me? That's called self-cherishing, self-centeredness. A narcissistic preoccupation with something which is unfindable. It's so simple. It's really simple. Can't you see it? No, you can't see it. Because you try to understand it. You try to figure it out with that which is maintaining itself through this discussion, which is going on, through the spiritual discussion, not through a political discussion, through a spiritual discussion. You try to come home with something which will die when it comes home. And with that, you cover up the mystery of this moment. You cover up that which you're actually seeking deep in your heart. There could be also thoughts, this is so philosophical, this is so strange, this is a belief. I think he's asking me to believe something. I think this is Buddhism. No, it's not. It's how it is. It's not a belief. You don't need to believe this. So the selfing has many ways to protect itself. Oh, I don't understand this. I don't want to think about this. This is philosophy. What has this to do with my life? I don't understand this. I have heard this before, and I didn't understand it then. Blah 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 blah. Or I think one can say this a bit better, like the other teacher said it like this, and maybe this has something to do with constructivism. So books, putting out books, comparing, valuing, blah blah blah. That's and you are not that. You are not that. Why? Because you see it. So then there is already two. The one who sees and the one and that what you see. A rational discussion in the right brain. That was the meditation, so now comes the talk. It was a bit a trick because I kind of talked quite fast and energetic for a guided meditation, but it was the guided meditation. With this, a good trick of this is also to put down the one who's speaking, to mistrust the one who's speaking. There's also a protection of being puffed up and arrogant. That's like the defense. Or I'm so stupid. Or this is not scientific. By the way, if that thought comes up, read this book, No Self, No Problem. Neuropsychology. Yeah? So if that comes up, it's not scientific. This is the transmission of the Buddhist teachings. That's why the Buddha smiles. And the Dalai Lama. That's why they emanate love. Because they see what they are not. When you see what you're not, nothing changes. You still will have a break. You still will go to toilet or have a coffee. But you travel light. You just travel light. Through the mess of your life, which you will never be able to fix. You just travel light. With an open heart. You put down the burden. So let's sit quietly for a while with this spacious aliveness. And notice how the rational mind is hunting for problems. Don't try to stop it. Yes, you can't. But if you kind of stop to be hypnotized by it, fascinated by it, it's getting quieter. You're not running after them. So the invitation is to unhook from thinking, sliding into the body, and this constant thinking created so many tension and blocks and pain in your body. So with the out breath, see if you can soften the shoulders, the belly. It's a bit of a sense as if you're shifting from the head into the body, even down into your feet and hands and belly, but also into the surroundings. If you notice that you're grasping, meaning you try to get rid of something or you try to get something, see if you can, with the out breath, Relax that grasping as if you're opening a fist. You can close your eyes if you want. And thoughts, they do their own thing, like they always do, but it's not you. Doesn't matter. Returning when you got hooked. If you like, or for some of you this is already happening, you can place your attention lightly on the breath or on your hands or on the sounds, but lightly. If there's pleasant and unpleasant sensations in the foreground, explore the possibility not to label them, not to name them. For a moment, let go of meaning making. Forget yourself. Forget your past, forget your future. Your name, your roles. And they come. They will try. They will try to hook you. Don't bite the hook. Like a lion looking at grass. Resting. Gravitate towards the big yes in you, the big yes. Yes. Let it flow where it wants to flow. Could you allow yourself to find a place of rest in the midst of your experience, while letting everything be as it is? There's nothing you need to understand, nothing you need to do. You can't do this wrong or right. It's not a technique. It's being. And that is happening by itself. It's effortless. Give up thinking. Give up thinking. Breathing, softening. So that spacious aliveness, vibrant stillness can reveal itself. Presence. Heart like the sky. And listening with your whole body to the stillness surrounding you, pervading you. The stillness which we share. Allow the selfing to do its thing. You're bigger than that. You're vast. Like the sky. give up thinking. Unhook from thinking. As if you are in an ocean, you become aware of the depth of the ocean, unhooking from the waves. What kind of hooks does the process of selfing throw at you? Don't bite the hook. There's some discomfort. What is it without words? is here if there's no problem to solve? Breath is coming and going, sensations in the body, thoughts are coming and going, sounds. And it's amazing. Feelings. And you are none of it. It's not yours if you're not claiming it. For the break, a short metaphor. Let's think of this moment as an ocean. A shoreless ocean. And in these oceans are waves. Here's a wave, there's a wave, there's a wave coming out of the ocean. The waves don't have problems. The waves in the ocean. Why not? Why don't have their problems? Why don't compare? Why don't do they the comparison with each other? Why don't they have wave beauty competitions? Because they can't do the selfing. So now imagine there's this shoreless ocean, kind of a oneness, or in Buddhism one talks about the Pende arising, or interconnectedness, or interbeing. I think it's kind of makes sense for us also on a felt sense that we are interconnected with everything else. So that's the ocean. So now imagine there's this wave forming out of the ocean in this short life of a wave, like your life, very short. It's almost not worth to worry about because it's so short. It's almost over. I mean, for me at least. I'm above 50, so there's some people who are in their 30s. So but it's coming soon. So the wave is coming. And somehow, because the matter in the wave became so complicated, suddenly the wave develops the capacity for selfing. And in that moment, this contraction happens. So before the wave was like this. And now it's like this. Me, I. And then it remembers its past, when it just started to come out of the ocean. And it already sees the not so nice future of dissolving. But then also it sees other waves. And they are different. It starts to compare. This poor little wave suddenly feels it's not good enough. It's not wavy enough. Then there are the yoga waves, the spiritual people waves. And they give these workshops about how to be a good wave, how to be a better wave. And suddenly, this wave starts to seek waving, being a good wave. Seeking. This is not good enough. And the ocean, where's the ocean? No, the oneness, the love of God, where's that? I want to travel home to the ocean. Where's the ocean? Seeking. That's about our situation. The last metaphor. Just that takes short. So, we are. This is a community of many cells. Yeah? Let's say let's imagine this is actually like this community is somehow separated. Yeah? So, like it has its borders. Yeah? So this, and this community is, yeah, it makes these little teams, and one of them is the liver. I think it's here somewhere, or here.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So let's imagine again, somehow this liver develops the capacity of selfing. Which is a conceptual process. Yeah? So selfing is conceptual. And it seems that only a brain can do it. I mean, and consciousness is a different thing, but it seems like the hardware necessary for selfing is the brain. Not for consciousness, yeah? But for the process of selfing. And a particular brain. I mean, it's like the frontal cortex kind of brain. So now the liver develops this capacity, and suddenly this contraction happens. Yeah? This contraction which happens in you right now. So the liver kind of, no, like the same way you have the sense that you are somewhere here in this meat, in this sack of meat, covered by skin, which is you, the same the liver does. So it shrinks kind of into it and assumes the position, and then somehow it also grows eyes. And looks around while it's identifying, making up, I mean, it's identifying with something made up, with a center position. So suddenly the liver starts to worry, what about me? What about me? And hey, heart, how can you make me happy? And it becomes narcissistic. Because it feels I'm the center of what happens to me is the most important thing. It's the most important thing in the universe is what's happening to me. My thoughts, my feelings, my sensations, my body, my money. It's like a cancer. And then the liver feels alone, separated, starting to seek community, connection. That's about our situation. That's why we fight with each other. That's why we want to be right. That's why we call others the other. That's why we look down upon others. That's why we steal, lie, kill, and cheat. That's the root cause of war. That's the root cause of greed. That's the cause for the climate change. That's the cause of all problems. And if that is not addressed, there's no hope. Because this planet will not be able to sustain how many? How many people are on this planet? 7 billion. I don't know. Many. Many greedy creatures who feel, what about me? And they feel, what about me? Not because they are bad or evil. No. They feel, what about me? Because they are identified with the center position, like the liver. I mean, the liver gives a shit about the foot. It's too far away. It's too far away down there, you know? Okay, yeah. You're poisoned. I'm good here. Because I am here. So that does not mean that we can do provisional stuff to make things better. But if not more people wake up, we can demonstrate for climate change forever. Because it's not addressing the root cause. It's not addressing the root cause, which is greed. Greed coming out of ignorance. It's a mistake. It doesn't need to be like that. So how to come from contraction into openness, into creative love, into joy, into gratitude? By seeing what you're not, and never wear. What's the cause for anxiety, for depression, for psychosomatic stuff going on? What's the cause for trauma? Being able to be traumatized? It's the identification with something which is unfindable. And this is not something you need to believe. You just need to look. You just need to look. It's a discovery. It's also not something someone else can do for you. You don't need to believe anyone, anything. I mean, that's one of the first things the Buddha said. Don't believe what I say, just look. Okay, let's have a break. If you can orient yourself in reality without a self. But you can rely on habits.